Hello, everybody. It is Matt, Russ, and Daniel, and we are very excited to be with you today because this is the debut episode of That Sports Show. Guys, how are you doing today?
Daniel.
I'm doing well. How are you? So excited to be here. Russ, how are things?
Dude, we are good. I'm excited to be back. Obviously, a different name. We're going to see what's in store, but excited to be back in sports. With it's going to be awesome. We're going to have 10,000 in a month. So let's go.
There you go. That's the goal. So for those of you guys that are just jumping on for the first time with us, we used to have a podcast/radio show in Texas that we called The Four Sportsmen, even though there are only three of us. We're still trying to figure that out. But we ended that about 2.5 years ago when life got in the way. And so now we're super excited to be back, and you guys can actually see us now, which outside of me, I think I've got a radio face, but these other two guys are pretty nice to look at. So ladies, we'll be posting their numbers towards the end of the episode, so you can call them and see what they're up to tonight. But we paid handsomely for the name, That Sports Show. We actually, yep, there you go. I forgot about that little detail. So apologies to the wives. Yeah, me too. But we paid handsomely for our name, guys. I don't know if I told you this, but I actually went to the painstaking links. I hired the same guy that named the college football playoff to name our new show. So he went through a long list of different things, different possibilities, and came up with That Sports Show, with the thought being that later on this week, when people are trying to remember the name of the show that they watched earlier this week, they're like, what was the name of that sports show? Oh, wait, it was That Sports Show. So there you go. That, and shockingly, there's not anybody else out there that at least recently I can find that actually has that name for their show. So we'll roll with it. Yeah.
If anyone go to this letter,
it is going to be bad. You can send that to me. My email address is russholler@aol.com. So actually, that probably is somebody's email address, so don't send it to that. I know that's not his. So well, guys, so since we're talking to a new audience here, this is a good opportunity for us to introduce ourselves, let them get to know us, some of our fandoms, where we're located, right? Because we used to all be located like in the same place. We actually got into a studio, which is this crazy scenario that I can't even fathom anymore in the world we live in, and now we're Skyping in basically, and doing this live, which is super exciting. So I guess, do we want to go left to right across our screen? Russ, do you want to go first and just kind of introduce yourself, talk about maybe some of your fandoms, what you love about sports, and then we'll go to Daniel from there?
All right, let's do it. My name is Russell Holler. I am in Marble Falls, which is about an hour outside of Austin. Anybody in the area. We've been here about 7 years now, but I don't actually have any fandom. So I spent most of my life in Oklahoma. I know it's not great. Sorry, Oklahoma. You know. But I do love. So it's split. I'm an Oklahoma State fan. Because you moved there when I was five. Yeah, because you were, and I chose you because obviously. So I moved all the time, and wanted to Realignment later. OSU's going to be of the Big 12. We can get. Think about later. And then my Oklahoma Thunder fan. Although I started out younger football. My favorite sport over the past 5 or 6 years. Basketball has become my favorite sport. And it's not really that anymore. I would say it's firm number one. And I enjoy hockey, baseball. I'm more doing the postseason. But I like that kind of Canada. So, but then you're going, hey, Oklahoma doesn't have any of them. You're right. And so, it's a long story for the pod, but there was a fancy living in Boston, Massachusetts. Didn't happen one day. But I wanted to strategize. I said, you know what, I'm going to start all this now, like a decade ago, years ago. So that way I'm not under the band. So yes, I am the fan. I know. Forgive me. I'm a Red Sox, Celtics fan, second to the second. And that's where we all. That's the Red Sox. The Red Sox, the three of us, are one.
Yeah, if you're a Yankees fan, you might as well just turn us off right now. You're not going to like this podcast. If you like any of the other teams, though, you're going to love us. So we'll talk trash about the Yankees all day long.
Yes, we will.
It's hard to say anything bad about them right now, though, right?
I was about to say they're so fantastic right now. It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Brian Cashman finally got money again.
Oh, he cashed.
He cashed. That's awesome, Russ. Well, it's good to see your face. We've got your orange color down below you on the screen, by the way, by your name. I don't know if you can see that right now or not, but that is for your Oklahoma City and Oklahoma State fandom. So anyway, we'll move on to Mr. Daniel Taylor. What's going on, Taylor?
Hey, y'all. My name is Daniel Taylor. I will get called Taylor. I will also get called DT for an affectionate short. So any and all of the above is acceptable. I got to meet gentlemen going to church with whenever I was a newlywed in Marble Falls, Texas. My wife and I have since moved to shortly after the pod ended. We relocated to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So my wife and I up in Matt's Horn Frog country, which is fun for me being a UT boy. So we live about 45 minutes south of Fort Worth, town of Cleburne. And then life is always fun. You know? We got to welcome. We've had blessing of welcoming our first baby girl, my daughter into the world in February. So we're still sleeping in fun sorts of times right now. But we actually had an appointment yesterday, and everything is good. Thank God for that. Sports fandom. Collegiately, I was born and raised in the Austin area. Both my parents are UT alum. So we're Longhorn everything. And then I also have a random array of sports things. The interesting thing until the last 2 years about living in Austin, growing up in the Austin area. There's no professional sports. There's UT, and now there's Austin FC, which I'm so jealous that I don't live there now. But also really good wallet that I don't live there now. So we kind of grew up. My dad was a fan who moved around a lot as a kid, doing military stuff. And then we were in Austin, so it's like UT everything. But then we kind of just got to pick allegiances elsewhere. So Red Sox fan in baseball is kind of my number one. Soccer is also a huge thing. More into international soccer. Big Chelsea fan out of the EPL. I do watch MLS. I've gotten a lot more into Austin FC since they've been around. So that's exciting. And then I'm a former NBA supporter. I just don't like the product. So I don't watch NBA basketball a ton. I'm a massive college fan. So love college hoops. And the madness, being that we're back in the Metroplex area, I listen to whenever I listen to local radio, I listen to the Dallas sports shows. So I know a lot about the Mavs and Luka mania and everything like that. Still keep up with the Thunder, things like that. But I don't watch a ton of NBA. But I feel like that I still am educated enough on topics. And then in the football world, I'm a Titans fan stemming from the old Oiler days. So.
Awesome, DT. Well, we gave you red as your color to represent the Red Sox. I figured that was complementary with the other ones we have as well. So yeah, the Red Sox, obviously the one thing that we have in common. Other than that, my name is Matt, and I live here in Orlando, Florida, and right in the backyard of Mickey Mouse, and even more in the backyard of the Orlando Magic and Orlando City SC. We were just talking about soccer there a moment ago. I am a former former San Antonio Spurs employee, and so love the Spurs. Grew up going to games, spending all of my my Albertsons bag boy paychecks to go sit in the rafters, and a huge TCU Horned Frog fan and TCU alum. My wife and I both went there, and so those are kind of my major fandoms. Big college football fan, and then big Red Sox fan as well when it comes to baseball. So yeah, that kind of gives an overview of who we are and where our loyalties lie. So when you hear us being extremely biased in the future, you will know why. So Russell, I hear you have some topics of conversation for our inaugural show. What do you have for us, man?
So I didn't have to do a whole lot of work on that. I started to say, hey, do we want to talk about that? You were like, man, we got intro, summer league, realignment, and then probably midway, all-star game, all roster camp. So the great news about this goes year-round, especially when you're a fan of all sports. Never a dull time. So we are kind of in the low of basketball, NFL, everyone get ready for that. There's a lot going on with MLB. There's so much going on with college football realignment. But let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go with the order that Matt. We'll start with summer league. And we don't necessarily have a whole lot of time on it. But I'm going to do Homer take on the Thunder. Matt can speak a little bit. I think he said earlier. Recording, you are less than a mile away from the arena.
I can walk to the Amway Center. As a matter of fact, I went to the draft party there for the Magic, and I can walk to the Amway Center in 18 minutes from my house. And then Exploria Stadium, where the soccer team, Orlando City SC, plays, is about 23 minutes, I believe. About another 5. It's on the same street. They're right next to each other. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Not been Austin company gaming yet, but I have wanted to. I told you this before. I've always wanted soccer. I would try. I would always say like, I want to try, and but kind of finally it over. Started watching which I will recommend a lot to anyone.
It's awesome.
I think that
go Greyhounds.
It finally pulled the door up. We gotta go. Plus, we now have a company. Summer league. We don't have a whole lot of time on this. I just want to go ahead and we're going to start. I think it's going to be the main topic because the Thunder plays the Magic tonight. We're going to talk about the number one pick, Paulo Banchero. Again, the number 2 pick that home run. And
he didn't play.
He did play. So you guys feel free to talk in any thoughts you have. I'm going to go ahead and say it. So, like I said, this is where I talk most. Thunder are my favorite, and I think that them from they came over. I was a senior whenever I was a senior. It was the first professional. I lacked on conversations about Kevin Durant, and James Harden, because all this conversation and later. We're tanking. We are. Whenever you are third smallest market, bottom 3 market. Size-wise, you're not going to attract free. Quick trivia. The biggest free agent, arguably the biggest free agent name that's the Thunder.
That wasn't traded there. They actually signed as a free agent.
Said, hey, I'm going to some. I'm probably like one to 2.
I don't have a guess because all the players were traded there. So I don't have a guess.
Exactly. We don't even have.
Who is it, Russ?
I would probably say either Nerlens Noel or Mike. Those are the names.
Muscala was in my head. I honestly thought he got traded. But I was like, Muscala, maybe. If that's bad, then you might as well just say nobody. Just pretend that you've never had a free agent signing in your career.
I legitimately love the city. I think he just had to retire there. Like he's signing with us for the minimum. And cried in interviews about how much he loves. Like you can go. It's fantastic. So I love. He's the new Nick. He can be the new. That's all great. But all that to say, Nerlens Noel are your big signings. We can't pull anyone. So I already know there's going to be people that are anti-tank. I know personally that are, and I'm just going to tell you,
Yep.
you're wrong. We don't wait. Yes, thing to lose. I get it. But whenever you go, okay, know that at the end, it's to have a level team. We've only years. We've already got Jock City, who was considered a leader, but I would say ended up being, depending on your feeling, top five or six from last draft, and then we got Alex, obviously very early, but he's looked like he was definitely a pretty pick. Who knows? Awesome on his first game, and some random guy that may not even be your body him up, or you destroyed him in the next game. Because 7'1", and I think he's less than 100 pounds. He looked. I'm not going to say like because another guy was like an alien, but what I'm excited about, and this is for the Magic Fallout is they just want to destroy at all time. Now, he looks incredible. Like he looks like just ready. He could probably play right now. But that's what I'm excited about. They just want to destroy. So I'm gonna end my rant there. I could keep.
No.
Tanking is good. You can't get.
Daniel, did you get to see the game last night by any chance?
I didn't. I clocked in to watch the last 15 seconds, which was actually somewhat fun. But according to ESPN, Chet Holmgren is 7'1", 195 pounds.
He's a 2-pick.
So he is skinny. I will say whenever he was number one, arguably number two coming out of high school. I think the first time I laid my eyes on Chet Holmgren probably after his sophomore year. It's like, oh my gosh. I looked at the guy and I was like, he has an unbelievable skill set. He has a skill set. He has the size of Kevin Durant. He dribbles like he's smaller. He has a decent shot, a little bit of a hitch, but like quality shot. But it's like that dude's got to put on some weight, and that's the one thing he hasn't been able to do yet. In a one and done year in Gonzaga, it's not surprising. He's gonna have to put on some level of weight. Because if not, I don't see how he's going to survive 82 games. I just don't. Yeah, he's incredible for a stretch player. The new NBA is kind of like NFL. This new hybrid linebacker type of honey badger role. He fits that great. If you put him in a traditional thing. Imagine him right now playing against the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's gonna come out black and blue. He just is. He can protect himself outside. It's not that he can't block shots. He's a really good shot blocker and things like that. He proved that in college. Rebounding, he just gets moved out of the way. And as a dude that is very slide of himself, and so the pot kettle skinny here. Like I understand that. I could jump well. I get moved out of the way like it's nothing. And so the physicality of the league is the crux with Chet Holmgren. Paulo looked unbelievable. He looked unbelievable. Now here's the thing that I saw out of him was he would hit stretches in college games very different than NBA. And he would hit almost 4 minute stretches between medias where he wasn't there. So it was like, where did he go? Is he still now? Duke is a different beast. It was Coach K's last year. There's a lot that played into that. Two games into the summer league, he looks fantastic. Here's what I would say. And the Thunder going, okay, we've seen enough. I agree. You have seen enough. Put him on a minute restriction. I would give him more time on the court just to get used to what summer league basketball is like junior varsity of just NBA speed, which every NBA and I would argue outside of I think MLB number one is the biggest shift from NBA is probably number two. The speed of the game is different than college basketball. Paolo's fantastic. He's got to be your odds-on favorite for rookie of the year. He's on a team that's rebuilding and not super great. So he's going to get minutes. No one's pushing him like pushing him for plays. He's going to be great if he stays healthy. I think it's exciting. This is a year really. I think the big three. Jabari Smith is an athletic freak of nature who had a really good back half of the year and a really good SEC at Auburn. But like the beginning of the year, you didn't really know who that guy was. And so outside of the fact that he's a freak athlete, he's a Baylor Bear football. You don't know who the heck he is. He's super athletic. He's going to get drafted really high and probably be successful. And so it's an exciting time. I think the NBA is trying to get more eyes. I think that this is a really good kind of first three. And then the Purdue kid, Jaden Ivey, like Russell Westbrook just athleticism out the waz, and so that guy's very exciting to watch. But no, Chet's got a fantastic Paulo. I had beliefs for him. Whenever he was going to Duke, that guy's going to be a stud wherever he goes. I think Orlando's a fantastic spot for him. And I think Oklahoma City is a fantastic spot for Chet. You've got to be excited. One thing to your point, Russell, one thing that OKC knows how to do. It knows how to develop because it ain't getting free. That's for sure.
Yep. Three real quick before you go. One. That's the spot. Not only just Thunder, but also in Oklahoma. Because that's the way you're going to gain just living in Oklahoma. The food there is terrible, good, but bad. And for him to gain some weight. And it's fun. He's been at it basically not but if you're like guys I just bark down to he's fine. And so you both have to go, not that he doesn't care, but also like, okay, maybe there's a little that he is fine at 195, but I think now that he's on a level, I think it's going to be a good blend. You're right. I hope my hope that he ends up to where he's not so big that you have to worry about like the leg or the ankle injury like that, where it's also injured like injuries like this. But then also you do 80, and there's always Zion can destroy every of course destroy him because of the everyone. But I think the goal where he can handle his own, but then still have
Zion's going to destroy himself in the process. Don't worry about.
Yeah, talk about somebody that's not the most durable in the world. Even though he looks like he should be, right?
It's great. The second, I want to give some love to them. They have been traditionally not all right. Friend of the pod will have to have him on.
Yeah.
Ben on anytime before he's a.
I didn't know that.
And
he is a huge Orlando. I remember that.
And I'm gonna have him watch excited. Then I want to give love to the Magic for the street. Finally, points. They were just collecting these guys. Like letting defensively and all that great to have. But there was run and ice Paulo going to them, or not going to them Paulo as a bar that's right. I'm actually excited for that now. Yes, the debate has always ran the best ran. The same place. No. So but I think they have found a foundation really good. And I hope they do it. I'm excited to see.
Yeah, we're so excited down here. It's strange for me to root for a team other than the Spurs, and it's kind of nice that they're in different conferences. But the bug is definitely in the air right now. And I've only heard the stories, and I can only remember back in my memory to what kind of buzz there was when Shaq and Penny were here in the mid '90s, and what a big deal the Orlando Magic were there. They always had like that Sunday afternoon game on CBS. That was the big like nationally televised game of the week. It was always like the Magic versus the Bulls or the Magic versus the Celtics or something like that. And so it's really cool to have that buzz back because the first 2 years that I've lived here, it hasn't been that way. The cool thing is, and people forget this, is that the Magic are not only gaining Paolo, they're gaining Markelle Fultz, who looks like he's returning to his number one pick type form. And they're getting Jonathan Isaac back also, who is an all-defensive first-teamer, potential all-star who's athletic as all get-up. And so they're basically adding those guys on top of a group that really gelled late in the year last year and actually played really good basketball down the stretch. And so it's really exciting. I mean, I have to say, and I didn't know how I would feel, going into the draft, but after really, getting on board with the Paolo Banchero pick, which I have, I would be disappointed if they didn't make the playoffs this year. I really would. And I think they can make some noise when they get there. I don't think they're going to win the NBA championship this year, but they've got such a great foundation, a lot of guys under the age of 25. They're doing the exact same thing that the Rockets are doing, that the Oklahoma City Thunder are doing. They're building through the draft, which you have to do. Otherwise, you end up, quite frankly, kind of like the Spurs, where you're just in no man's land for, what has it been, about 7 or 8 years now, right? And even the Spurs broke down and they said, you know what, we've got to start from scratch, got to build through the draft, and we've got to be like the Warriors, right? They've added some players through free agency, but not a whole lot. Most of those guys are homegrown, right? And then the same thing with the Bucks the year before. Most of those guys are homegrown. And so, particularly in a small market, you pretty much have to go that direction if you're not in LA, New York, Miami, or Chicago, right? Where you can attract free agents just based on the name of the city. So it's gonna be a fun year, I think, for the Magic, for the Spurs, for the Thunder. It's gonna be a really cool year to see some of these young players develop. The Pistons had a heck of a draft, and of course they're adding on to Cade Cunningham last year. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. And honestly, I was a little bit on the Jabari Smith bandwagon going into the draft simply because I kept on thinking about fit for the Magic. And I kept on thinking this is a team that could really use a dominant defensive player on the wing who can also nail a bunch of threes, which shooting has been their Achilles heel the last couple of years, shooting and scoring in general. But the more I really thought about it, the more I was like, wait a minute. We have the number 1 pick in the draft. You don't draft the guy that's going to be the best complementary player. You draft the best player. Yep. And the best player was Paolo. And
you need the quarterback.
You got to have the quarterback, exactly. And I really look at it this way. He is not LeBron James, but I think they can utilize him in a similar fashion in that he can be that point forward guy where the ball flows through him on almost every possession. That's going to open up Jalen Suggs and Markelle Fultz on the wing for shots and help spread the floor. He's a great passer. We even saw some flashes on defense, during Summer League. I think consistency is going to be key there, right? But he proved he can play defense when he's engaged. And he's uber competitive, which is one thing I really like about him. It seems like the guy has just a competitive fire to be great. And so yeah, we're thrilled about it down here in Magic Land.
Well, you guys are in the right comp too.
Yeah.
And the East has been getting better.
It has.
Like it used to be like the top 14 everyone else kind of stuff. But in the West, and so y'all are in the right to be able to do that. And then the very last thing was we're not going to give a comp to Ivy of Russell because he can solve anymore. Not Russ, John Morant.
Because
that's fair.
Well, I was going to ask you about comps because I thought that was awesome that you brought that up. Who do you think the comp is for Chet?
I didn't know that there is one. And I split the Thunder. The Thunder just like whenever everyone's back. And so or to go with weird. I mean, we traded up to get if you don't know that name, Google it and have a fun time. But
have a fun time spelling it.
Google's gonna know before I go for it. If you just put Casey,
okay. I'll have to check that out.
There's you can take little pieces of other players. I honestly don't know, and that's kind of what I like. Every struggles to get them because I think he could, and I think his base because of his defense, he will be a good role player, like at worst in case scenario. And I think if everything breaks for him, he could be our number. Like him or Chase, and I don't know, Chase only 24 today. But I also keep going. Josh Giddey's only in his second year. He's 19. That's only like 5 years. And I don't want to get rid of him. Chase signed a 5-year max with no option. So he's here too. But I'm also just I don't know. We need to figure it out. That's conversation. So, but I'm excited to be with this. And Detroit, yeah, the Spurs trying to get Wemby and all that.
It is going to be a lot of fun. So last night when I was watching Chet, and he was kind of going against the Magic Summer League B team a little bit because Summer League teams are already like a C team, but it was like the Summer League B team last night for us. But I kept on thinking that he reminded me a lot of Keith Van Horn, and I mean that in the most positive way, because I will tell you, back in the day when fantasy basketball was my thing, that was a guy that I wanted on my team every single year because 100%. He filled up that all the stat lines, the whole sheet. Yep. Yeah, he didn't neglect any category, and I just really feel like I feel like that Chet has a lot of that same skill set. He may be a little bit more of a finesse player close to the basket than what Van Horn was, whereas Van Horn was a little bit more of an away from the basket type player. But I think if you get Keith Van Horn out of Chet Holmgren, I think you're pretty happy with that.
I agree. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. I agree. So I am down to the man in particular. So I only have 5 more. Let's hop on to college football.
Yeah.
So you guys. You guys go as long as I'll have to get that.
As Daniel's phone rings. Yeah, these guys are working hard over there at work. I'm a realtor, and so I'm able to kind of block off my schedule a little bit more than them. They're doing this over their lunch break, which shows an extreme amount of dedication. So Russ, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the current state of conference realignment.
I think the only thought that comes to my mind there is a GIF or however you want to pronounce it. He's a politician, Ron Paul. There's a whole bunch of listeners in the background going, "Get happening," and that's all I can think of the entire time. There was the first, and I don't think I've been saying bomb announcement last year now or earlier this year.
Yeah, it was a year ago. It was last July. When Oklahoma, Texas left.
We're out. We're going. We're heading. With OU in my opinion, wasn't that still surprising. Yeah, obviously, but it's like but the fact that you won with if that makes sense, it's on the line. Both is how you think about it, but it's also not thinking about it. But it's still crazy. And like, holy smoke, this is going to change a whole bunch of stuff. And then what was it, a month ago, less than a month ago, it's been announced that UCLA and
USC.
And USC are like, hey, we're out. Which makes sense on the Lee Riley thing. Lee Riley, if you don't know, there was a head coach, and went on over UCLA. No. So which I don't blame him, right? You can live in Oklahoma City, or you go live whatever. I get it. But then it's like we're out to, and then all the first coming out. Okay, well, the conference is basically going to end. So the Big 12 already reached. We said, all right, we're going to get other teams and BYU and Colorado.
BYU, Houston, UCF, and Cincinnati.
And they're talking heavily about both the Arizona schools being up.
Yeah, so
which would be huge.
It would be.
Just one. Basically, the 12 saying, hey, any other good team. Just sum them down.
Yeah.
Which I think them doing it all. And it's like hey, if the SEC is going to try to become its own powerhouse conference, let's go ahead and do it. And I made that happen earlier. I think Oklahoma State is in good position to try to take over the Big 12 and be the if you will. Now, of course, there's always going to be.
Don't say that.
Okay, not always.
They were so bad for so long, and now all of a sudden it's like Baylor's awesome. They won the
McLean
McLean Stadium looks like a toilet seat. They won 2 national championships in basketball, which makes them great in football.
I agree with that. I should it appears that they're going to go wow. I love Gundy, and I've said this before on other shows. I don't know that we get a better coach. I also don't know that Gundy can take it to the top.
That's fair.
That's very fair.
I love Gundy. I don't want to go anywhere. I want to be that mold as long as that mold wants to. Thanks. Don't know that can take it, but you know what? He's the most winning coach in OSU history, and not close. So yeah, just let him be as long as he wants, and maybe I mean So Justin Blackman and with Justin Blackman could have gotten rid of the that could have been real good in the NFL. And 29-year-old, 38-year-old Brandon don't and all that, which was terrible, but he was oriented in college football, and it's a little over 0.0002 points that I mean the fraction away from the BS. He should have been in the NBA, but. But I'm excited to how it all felt, right? Nothing. So the full that we've been on confirmed, but now we look at my grow more. So who knows? Maybe we become a super conference. Maybe don't. But I really am excited for it, whatever it's going to be. So we can get going.
Absolutely. It sounds like, obviously the Pac-12 is entered into early negotiations on their TV contract, and that's for the remaining 10 schools that are left in the conference. And so they should know within the next 30 days or so, what each school is worth, basically, and what their overall compensation might be going in to their next TV contract with either ESPN, Fox, or whatever other service wants to pick them up, whether it be a streaming service or CBS, NBC, one of the major networks. So I think we'll know even more next week, hopefully, how that's lining up. But yeah, I think at this point in time, if you're the Big 12 and numbers are something that's going to play into your favor, and you feel like you can add additional schools that are worth basically what the average is of your schools in your conference, which I think if you're looking at it and you're looking at the markets that they're in, really any of the schools outside of maybe Oregon State and Washington State that are left in the Pac-12, I think, fit in very, very well from a market size and probably overall value standpoint with what's in the Big 12 right now. So why not get those additional markets and additional quantities of schools on your side so that, let's say the SEC does stand pat at 16 right now and the Big 10 stands pat at 14 right now. Well, all of a sudden, you've got this 20-team super conference, and you can kind of use that as some muscle, in TV negotiations, and then also in negotiations when it comes to the college football playoff and the future of that.
I've got a hot gentleman been line.
Let's go ahead and let's end it then there, because I think we'll know more on this topic next week. And if you bail off too, I'm not sure what that's going to do from our screen configuration. We're still kind of getting through all that. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in to us this week. It's going to be a blast having you on board going forward. We'll be broadcasting every week around noonish on Tuesdays. Bear with us as we get through the initial growing pains, but we really look forward to having you guys as an audience, and please participate in that chat with us as well going forward. We'd love to have some active participation and have you guys be part of the show. But we'll let Russell go. You guys have a great day today, and we'll see you next week.
Y'all as well.
Bye, fellas. Take care.